We're going to say loads of stuff we're not supposed to say. And it's all going to come out. I'm going to expose everything about the online industry.
This week's episode, Matt and Jo Simpson are not holding back.
Jo is an accountant, profit strategist, and founder of Financial Growth Academy.
The brutally honest truth of how to be successful this year.
This last month, we have had more bounce direct debits than I've had in 24 years of business. I think people take too much time off in Christmas. People go, oh, I take a few weeks off. They come back into January, they get all excited, and then they go, oh God, and they get defeated. Do you want a job that you can take your kids to school every day? Realise that you're not going to have a 7-figure business. You know, I have sacrificed so much for the practice, for the business. Ultimately, it's my responsibility. If you've not got clients, if you've not got client work, 80 to 90% of your time should be absolutely sales, marketing, whatever that looks like. My wages bill, it makes me feel a little bit sick in my mouth every month when I do it. I don't look at it now, but I don't outsource it outside the UK. I could get a bookkeeper for £3 an hour.
Some days I bet that's really tempting.
Very tempting.
You've also spoke there about its obsession, sacrifice. Is it healthy? Jo Simpson, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here. And I also know we're going to say loads of stuff we're not supposed to say because we're just friends that chat and it's all going to come out. I'm going to expose everything about the online industry.
I hope not.
Everything's going to get
Don't
said.
get me cancelled.
Oh, let's get cancelled. What the hell? That's what we're here for. All joking to one side, you are literally one of my favourite people that I've met in the online space. And I mean that heartfelt. I think a lot of people talk about, you know, I'm here to help you and I will help you. But as we know, actions, behaviours speak a lot louder than words. And you just have been the person that has done everything you can to help me.
Oh,
and I can't, and I know that I'm not the only one. I know that's just who you are. And you really do genuinely care about human beings. And I think for lots of us building online businesses, putting ourselves out there on social media, building personal brands, it can be a scary place to be.
Absolutely.
And we need people like you. So I just want to say that. But for anyone who doesn't know who Jo is, do you want to just tell us what it is you actually do? Because I know you're wearing lots of hats. How do you describe yourself?
So my muggle job is I'm an accountant.
Yeah.
So I set up my practice 24 years ago this year, 2002. And when I set up my practice, I didn't want to be an accountant. I didn't want to be a bookkeeper. I wanted to do business consultancy. So we did a whole range of services. But 24 years ago, the internet was there, but it wasn't like it was now.
Right.
I mean, we used to do checks. You didn't have online banking. For wages, we had a company that we did payroll for 400 people. We had to write them all out.
Oh my God.
And
it
fax
literally
them.
sounds like you're talking about Tudor days or Victorian days. Like,
used to
because
have to
things have
fax them
changed.
to
Yeah.
the yeah. I mean, it's changed so much. So you know, when I started the business, I saw a gap in the market for bookkeeping.
She means bookkeeping. For anyone that's not from Northeast.
I was saying that, I was
Bookkeeping.
actually saying this. So I was talking about Lisa's new business the other day. And it's hook book, and I'm like, that's
Hook,
the worst thing
perfect.
for a jaw day
For a
to
jaw
ever
day.
to say is hook book. Yeah. So
love it.
when I started the business, they had this idea that we would do loads of sort of business services for business. We'd become this one-stop shop for people. Which was great, and we did. So we had a marketing department. We did marketing for people. We did bookkeeping for people. We did good old-fashioned PA stuff, which we still do now. We still do PA services, not VA, PA services. So we had this whole range of services that we did, and we grew really, really quickly. And we've talked about this before, but when you grow, your ego takes over slightly. Luckily, I was one, because this was 24 years ago. I was so young that I let my ego take over. I made a lot of money, invested a lot of money into some other businesses, which I absolutely love, which was retail businesses.
Yeah.
So that really set me on my sort of business journey of where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. And then recession hit, which is a whole other thing that we might talk about, we might not, 2008. My ego landed very, very quickly, brought back down to earth. And then I decided then that we would just put all the focus into the accountancy practice, which is what we've done. So I have an accountancy practice we're based in Scotland. We cover the whole of the UK, only UK. We've got a team of, I think we're now 14. I think we're 15, we're now 14. And we do online companies, we do construction and beauty, hair and beauty. There's our three main areas. Go figure how that works. So that is my main bread and butter. That is my life. That is a lot of responsibility. And then the other side of that is my personal brand, which is the Profitable CEO, which is my online training, which we do profit first training, we do mentoring training, we do business development, all sorts of things. We have a mastermind. So yeah, that's my online side of the business.
The real question is, do you sleep ever?
Yes.
Because that is a lot. That is a lot. Okay, I want to dive into loads of that. Let's start with the ego thing. What was the ego era like, and what did the recession teach you?
That you so with the ego side of it, and it's really interesting because we've had this conversation because I see it all the time. I can spot it a mile off now. So for me, I did very well. My business did very well. We grew really quickly. Within 3 weeks of leaving, I did it sort of on a night time, like most people do, from my job. And then within 3 weeks of leaving to do it full time, I employed my first member of staff. I had an office from day one. It grew really quickly.
So a lot of people are like, it's really slow.
Yeah.
What did you do differently that meant you grew quickly when so many people struggled to?
Do you know, and nobody ever asks me that, and this is what I've gone back to in business. It's my best business advice I could ever get anybody, is I networked my arse off, basically. I worked so hard to develop my network. I've always been a relationship builder. That was instilled into me. My parents, I was an only child, so they had a very nice lifestyle, but I got dragged along to all of it. So it wasn't unusual for me to be at dinner parties.
It was just the norm. Right, all right.
And
Okay.
have to
Having
with
wine.
business people. Well, I had wine from 12. This is with my
Okay.
father and I have had this conversation recently. But with other business people and listening to conversations,
Yeah.
I was always able to sort of connect with people and do that. My father was an only child, and he never wanted me to be a typical only child. So I got pushed into putting myself out there. So I've always been a really good relationship builder. And the job that I had at the time before, which was a sales job, interestingly, it was my friend's business, who's a friend and a good mentor of mine still now. And she gave me sort of full autonomy to do what I wanted to do in the business and build my team. And one thing she was really, really strict on was you had to go and build your own network, which is unusual in competitive industries because now, you teach people personal brand and people within, I tell my girls to have a personal brand within the business, but it wasn't that. So I joined, I used to go to a networking organization, which is still going, called BNI, which was a breakfast meeting. And I used to do 3 of those a week, which is hilarious because I can't get up before 8 o'clock now, but I used to do it in those days. So I built my network. So by the time I came to starting my business, I'd had conversations with people. And quite frankly, I used to just go out and offer the work to people. I would tell them what I wanted to do and how I wanted to help them and how I thought I could help them. And I literally spent pretty much the time before I actually did it was building those relationships, telling people how I could help them.
So it's been that direct. Because a lot of people, I
working
think,
for free.
they just put, right, okay, so you're happy to do stuff for free
Absolutely.
to really cement, I can do this for you.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people are putting stuff out on social media and they're not getting the traction. But actually, what I'm hearing from you is you were in the actual rooms, not just online. I mean, it was different times, granted. But you were proactively saying, I want to work with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I did is I adapted to whatever they needed. And I think this is now what we've got the online space and we talk a lot about niche, whatever way you call it, niching and doing all these things and having your ideal client and everything. I molded what I wanted for those particular people.
So you was a chameleon. You was anything and everything they needed.
Yeah. I mean, my first client, I didn't know anything about building a big business, but I sat at the kitchen table and, we did business plans, we made relationships, we did things, but that grew. I only resigned as a director a few years ago, and that company now turns over a couple of $100 million a year.
Oh, you're talking numbers. I didn't think you did.
I do sometimes. Ex-clients.
Okay.
No, that was a big book. That came from me adapting, and I remember when I handed over in that role, somebody saying to me, because I did all the HR, I did all the finance, I headed up all the tenders, so I did all the tenders for people. It was such a diverse range. It was brilliant. I got to learn. So in the beginning, I started, and I'm very, very proud to have the same clients that I started with now.
Yeah, which is rare for people.
Absolutely. I built the relationships and I just said, right, what do you need me to do? What can we do to help? I brought people in. I was very much the introducer then. Now we would call it affiliate, but at the time it was just, they needed help with marketing. I can find you a marketing person.
Right. Yeah.
We need help with it. I'll find you this, and just brought everybody together.
I think that's huge. Not just putting yourself forward for stuff, trying to think, what does this person need? And if I can't do it, who can?
Yeah,
and that,
absolutely.
Again, the networking, the relationship person is huge.
And they still now. I mean, one of the clients I was talking about, which was one of my first clients, a big construction company in Edinburgh, they cover the whole of Scotland. And they still, yesterday, they asked me a question about a referral for something that nobody would think that I would know, like who should we go to for that? they're a huge company now. I'm still FD of the company, and it's probably my only client. I still get really in the roots of it still, but they still ask me for the recommendations because that's what I always did. Which is why I find it easy now to recommend people and to create those networks where we all do well when we all do well. So yeah, so that was probably how I did it. And you asked me the initial question, which, as you know, I go off on tangents, was what did I do? Like now people say it takes so long to build it. I think the difference is people are expecting to have making money from day one.
Right.
And that isn't always the case.
Mm-hmm.
If I was to start, but I've got a mastermind and we've got a couple of people in my mastermind who've now got into yours as well.
Mm.
And if you've not got clients, if you've not got client work, 80 to 90% of your time should be absolutely sales marketing, whatever that looks like, whether it's reaching out to people, going to events, all your time should be spent doing that. Pretty much all my time now is spent on, and this is a new thing, is all business development and sales is mainly my job and my role now. But in the beginning, I had to do the work as well. And I was very lucky. My best friend, who I absolutely adore, she used to sit up she was really good at Excel. So I'm not good at Excel, which you should never admit doing what I do for a living.
Right.
But I'm not good at Excel. She was really good. And she would sit up all night with me and we would do all the work. So I think the difference is then I was prepared to put in absolutely everything to make it work. I was really lucky. My now husband was really supportive. He took a lot of the financial strain away from me as well, to a degree, because we weren't married or anything then. Didn't even live together then. And he really, supported me. My best friend gave me her time. Other friends gave me, their skills, a lot of the PA stuff, So I just worked really bloody hard.
Okay, I want to hone in on that, the work ethic side. And I want to come from it from a standpoint of, we see a lot of people talking anti-hustle culture online. And I think it's become a very popular thing. If you were to put a post out there and say, hey, if you're a parent or a single parent or whatever the circumstances, insert that thing, please recognize, it's you don't have to hustle like everybody else and da-da-da. Very popular. People go, oh, thank God. Yes, you're telling me I don't have to work that hard and so on.
Absolutely.
What's your honest thoughts on this subject in terms of, I'm sure you'll agree with me, yes, circumstances are vastly different from one person to the next, and we've got to understand that. And at the same time, what you're telling me is what most guests tell me, which is they worked their bloody backside off for a long time before they saw success.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your honest take on all of that?
So obviously I've been around a while, so 24 years in business. I've seen all the ups and downs of it. There was, we've gone through stages where it was a badge of honor to work hard.
Yeah.
It was a badge of honor. Now we've got the opposite. Now you need to, not work as hard. So allegedly, I probably work harder than I've ever worked in my business. I did get to this stage. Aside from this, I cared for my mum for 15 years. I was her main carer. So I was restricted to what I could do. Obviously, we had kids. We had, we've had the whole family thing, which I always say, I raise children without iPads. Go and try and do that. Particularly if you've got naughty ones. Not easy. So I think now, I think the problem is that people don't recognise where they're at. So when it comes to building businesses and knowing what you want to do, do you want a job that you can take your kids to school every day, pick them up from school every day and just work in those times, have weekends off, have the summer holidays off, all the rest of it, great. But realise that you're not going to have a 7-figure business if that's what they want. If that's what they want to do. And I think that's the problem, is that we went through this stage. I was actually just listening to Lisa's podcast last night where she was talking about how she works harder than she's ever had. And the heydays of 2020 are long gone, where you could just put a few emails out and you have to work hard. I think the problem is that people, one, they don't know where to start. So they don't know how to work. Like, what do we do? Like, do we go on Facebook every day? Right. Market? What do we actually do?
So it's that busy being busy.
Absolutely. So I don't think they've got a structured approach to what they actually need to do. And I don't think they're clear on what they actually want. They might think they want the 7-figure business. They might think they want an accountancy practice, for example. I mentor, I've only ever mentored 2 accountants, mentoring one at the moment. Her kids are a bit older now, and I've been really honest and said, if you want this, you've got to, sacrifice. I've flown back from holidays in the days where it's only me who could do bank transfers. I've flown back from holidays. I have hidden in toilets in weddings, having to do things, have to take my laptop because obviously a lot of the work we do now is secure. I couldn't do it on my phone. I have to do it on my laptop for big amounts. So I've hidden weddings in toilets with my laptop I have sacrificed so much for the practice, for the business. And now, obviously, nothing in the business depends on me for that, thank God. But there's other things that the business depends on me. And ultimately, it's my responsibility. So the hustle culture comes from you never switch off. Nobody ever does. To go on holiday, and I admire people who do this, but to go on holiday for a week and not do any work at all, it absolutely blows my mind that people can do that. I found a lot of other people put pressure on me to be, on holiday, right? Don't look at your phone, don't look at your phone, don't go. My friends who, a lot of my friends actually have got jobs. So when they go away, happy days. Particularly my best friend who runs she's in car sales, so she doesn't even get emails out of work. I mean, when you're not there, which blows my mind. So when I'm sitting on my laptop in the morning, so I think it's the realisticness of things. I think people are not realistic about what they want to do. The flip side to that is that you actually, if you're quite happy not to build the multi-6-figure business, 7-figure business or anything, you can earn 60 to 100,000. I mean, I've got clients who are earning 100,000 a year doing the school run, not missing sports day, not missing holidays, switching off and doing all the things. You can do that, but I don't believe you can get to the next stage or the stage where, and I obviously know your journey of where you're going to without going all in on it. And I do talk about how hard I have to work. And I'm really lucky. I get to see behind the scenes of businesses. When, what you see online is only a snapshot of what these people are doing. And every successful business owner that I know, every single one at some stage has to, I call it balls deep, if I'm allowed to say it, has to go balls deep into their business. They have to work hard. They have to go through stages and you have to become obsessed with it. And that is it. You can't, do everything. And I'd love to think that you can. Interesting. I interviewed my son for my podcast because I'm releasing my podcast. Because I really want to see how he felt with growing up. Because he's 20 and he's 30 this year. He's my stepson, but he's been with me since he was little. So, and he lived with us, and he has got such a good work ethic. And I missed loads when the kids were little. Has he suffered from it? No, absolutely not. And that's probably brings me on to what people are trying to do now when they've got young kids and things. They're trying to build a big business with young kids without the support system that they need to be able to do that. And I've seen it. I've gone on Zoom meetings where people have got kids hanging off the shoulder and doing all, and they're shouting and screaming at the kids, and that's not good. When you're with your kids, you're with your kids. When you're working, you're working. And I think that has gone a bit different, probably since COVID now, because people are working from home more, having that separation. But I think you have to hustle. I get in trouble every time I say it. Most people know I work hard and they can see I work hard.
Yep.
But I also have the best support system. And the question on sleeping, that is my absolute secret sauce. I have to sleep. If I don't sleep, I can't do what I can do. I have to have all the supplements. I have to live my life. I have to have gin and tonics every day. There's all of these things I have to be able to do what I do. But yeah, the hustle culture it's this thing now where people say you can't see, you have to work hard for something, but you do.
So I think it's about what I'm hearing is a level of self-awareness and also understanding and awareness of what the market needs right now, what business takes. Because as you say in there, look, one of the things you touched upon is 2020, send a few emails, make a lot of money. That's not what we're living through at the moment. Not. People like yourself, and you mentioned Lisa Johnson there, are working harder than arguably ever before right now to maybe make the same, if not less, than you'd have made 4 or 5 years ago, right?
Absolutely.
You've also spoke there about its obsession, sacrifice. Is it healthy?
Yes and no. So there's 2 examples I'm going to give of this. Recently, I found, we were looking through some old photos. I don't know why. I don't know if we were looking for, we found some old photos. And my best friend was at my house. There was this photo of me. And oh my goodness. I mean, I've always gone up and down size, but I look horrendous on this photo. And I had great big roots. My nails weren't done. I was really overweight. I looked awful.
You see, you're such a glamour person.
I am.
So that sounds not like you.
I always have been.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, and I really sat, and I've got a brilliant memory, which is also the secret to success in business. Can I say?
Which is why I'm fucked.
I have the best
memory.
I remember I mean, people still ring me now. What year did that person get sacked? That was 2015. I literally can remember.
Wow.
It's brilliant. It's probably the only thing that I've got good going. So, and I looked at this picture. My best friend was sat next to me and she went, I never remember you looking like that. And then I found the picture after of me and her hanging out together. And I said, that was 2 years into the business. I didn't eat healthy. I probably drank too much. I was staying up all night. I was, I wouldn't, prioritize myself. Absolutely, that wasn't healthy. I then started looking after myself and did things. The other example of that is 3 years ago, when I handed my notice in, or it was actually 4 years ago, 2021, I handed my notice in on my big sort of corporate directorship. I wasn't employed, it was a directorship. I was so unhappy, so unhappy. I had more freedom then. We were getting a huge amount of money. It was easy. I knew it inside out. There was the problem that if they needed me, I had to jump and drop everything and do it. But I was so unhappy. And Dave actually said to me, I used to go into their office in Edinburgh. And obviously when you were then, I'd always gone into their office. I'd never worked from home, ever worked from home. So going into the office after COVID, I remember going there for 7 hours. And Dave said, it's like you've just climbed, I climbed, oh my goodness, Ben Nevis that year. So I'd climbed Ben Nevis. He said, you look as exhausted as you did after climbing Ben Nevis. I'd been for 7 hours. Yet this year I drove back, in fact it was last year, I drove back from a client down south in London. I drove back, I live in Scotland, it's a 10-hour drive. And I got in and I was chatting away to Dave, blah, 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 blah. And he went, you have just drove 10 hours and you're still buzzing, you're still happy, you're still chatting away. It's because I love what I do. So to be healthy, when I say it and I'm older now, I can't do what I used to be able to do. I don't want to do what I used to be able to do. I actually think a lot more people care more in my business now than sometimes I do. I'm the one who's always saying, oh, can we just go for a drink now? Or let's not work, let's have this tonight off work, and they're just, they are. So I recognize that you have to have that good support system. And it's really interesting because I teach, as part of my online Profitable CEO, I teach 6 pillars. And the one I really focus on is you. Okay, so it's the you pillar. And when people say to me, oh, self-care is a bath and a face mask, you should be having a bath every day. That is not self-care. You should be getting washed every day. That is not, and I think this is the thing. You've got self-care for me is Dave opening up my cabin and having my green juice there for me, waking up, my water with loads of electrolytes in it, my hot water bottle because I've got a dodgy back, my healthily prepared lunch, my dinner, going to bed at a reasonable time, getting a lie-in on a Saturday morning until 10 o'clock. Those are all things that I need to be able to do what I do. So is it healthy? Probably not, but you recognizing you're going to go through stages where you're shattered. And we've been at that stage where we've got nothing to get. Like I missed your event. Was it November, your event? October. I missed that because I was absolutely exhausted. Yeah. I'm also, battling some health things as well. I was exhausted. And it was a 5-hour drive to that, 5-hour back. And then I had to go somewhere else 2 days later, London. And I physically couldn't do it. So I am good at going, no, actually, even if I want to, I can't do that now.
And that comes from experience. And the way that I always teach it is it's about seasons. And I don't just mean like in the weather.
I
mean
call
like
them eras. Like Taylor Swift.
Yeah, you love a Taylor Swift.
Well, I never liked Taylor Swift. And then I went with Danny Wallace, who
Obsessed.
I think is good. And Lizzie Buckley-Goddard and Emma. We went to see Taylor Swift. I'm not really into it, but I've got a free ticket. I'll go along now. I'm into my eras. So yeah, I call them eras in your business.
So we all know that everybody is talking about AI right now. And we all know it's not going anywhere anytime soon. In fact, it's very much here to stay, not just in our lives, but importantly in our businesses. But if you're anything like me, you might just be feeling a little bit overwhelmed with it all, not really knowing what you need to be focusing on, what you need to do, or who to trust to give you the right advice. Well, do not worry, my friend, because I have a very good friend. If you're a regular listener to this show, you'll know she's already been on this podcast. She's been speaking in our membership, and she has been helping us develop our AI tools in Success School. The one, the only, the incredible Rebecca Whitney. Now, from my experience, when you see most courses around AI, they just move really fast, they use really complicated jargon, and it's taught in a way that feels like you already have to be an expert just to know what they're talking about. Rebecca Whitney is the complete opposite. And that is why I highly recommend her AI to Scale Accelerator. She doesn't use the complicated jargon, it's easy to follow, it's broken down step by step, and it will help you understand how to utilize AI in your business in a way that enables you to be able to truly scale. Now, if you're already a member of our Success School membership, you may just be familiar with a very fun, amazing chatbot called Mattbot, my very own AI chatbot that we have. Now, we have been getting incredible feedback from people who have been talking to Mattbot. For those who are not familiar, it's basically taken all my information, everything I teach, all my masterclasses, all my podcasts, and also my yet to be released full book that I've written. It has all this knowledge, and people have access to chat with the AI version of me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you've got that idea at midnight or 1 a.m. and I'm in bed asleep, which hopefully I will be, you can still get access to the kind of guidance that I might give you. It's been really successful, basically. People rave about Mattbot, and Rebecca is the brains behind creating Mattbot. In her AI accelerator, she will teach you exactly how she creates those kinds of things and how you could do the same for your business too. So basically, if you want to now finally grab hold of AI and truly understand how to use it, Rebecca and her team will teach you the systems that you truly need to know. And what is really lovely is because you are a friend of ours and a listener of this show, she is giving you the first 30 days into this accelerator completely for free. You know what you need to do? Head to the show notes below this episode right now, click that link, sign up, and start mastering AI today.
Love it. Okay, so I think that's the thing that we have to acknowledge, and back to my point about the self-awareness.
Yeah.
It's like, what era are you in right now and
Yeah.
what serves it? And it's understanding eras come to an end. So even though you might be working in a way that's not the best in terms of health, and it is, you put in extra and so on, understand and also be intentional about when does this end? What's the outcome? What's the time frame? And then we move into a different era.
And I've just buggered up on that
Oh no.
recently. I've just,
What
and that
happened?
actually, and I thought it wasn't you. I just remembered who I was talking to about. So October, November, December, January is our tax season. So that is our busy season. Alongside that, I decided that I was sick of trying to get people to build me software that I wanted to use. I wanted to build some financial dashboards and stuff. So in our busiest season, I decided that I would go and do this myself. So
Of course.
because I'd spent so much money on paying other people to do things. So that then took me every night because I couldn't do it during the day. So I started doing it every night. So what was really interesting about that, so it was October, November, December and January. And I thought, well, do you know what? We're busy anyway. We're busy. So December and January I work every single day, including the 1st of January, including weekends. Always have, always will. But then February is kind of my supposed to be easy month.
You filled it with something, didn't you?
So I did
Yeah.
that. But the other thing I did is because I was working on night. So I've never worked from home. I'm not being I call it tippy tappy on my keyboard. I don't do that in the house. But I did it because I was building these apps. So I was doing that on a night time. I watched the whole of SWAT season. I watched Virgin River, anything that was easy on the background. So every night I was sitting in my
Does it
room.
actually go in?
No.
Okay.
I realised you can't watch anything. You can't watch anything that you need to follow along.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Virgin
Just
River,
easy.
it's the same story on every single
Fine.
episode.
We're good. Okay.
So you don't need, if you try and watch something, I tried to watch His and Hers, there was a program on the I tried to watch that while I was doing Tippy Tappy,
Right.
couldn't do
Not
it. I had to
working.
put that
Okay.
away.
Yeah.
So I was doing that at night time. So like I was doing it at night. And then when everything was done, and then January's over and I came back and I sat and I thought, I'm going to watch some telly. And I straight away got my laptop and put it on my lap. And bearing in mind, 24 years, I've never done that. In the last 4 years I have. I didn't know how to have a nighttime. I didn't know what to do. If I wasn't at the gym, if I wasn't working, if I wasn't on calls, what was I doing? So I found I couldn't watch the telly without actually doing work. And I was like, oh my God, this just shows you how quickly you get into a habit. That was only 4 months.
Wow.
So yeah, I had to take that step back and go, no, I'm not doing nights for now. I've always worked nights. I always do 2 nights a week, but I was doing it every night. So you have to talk to yourself and go, right, hang on a minute, you know, what are you doing here? Take that time. Because February is supposed to be my quiet. The same with today. I didn't know if I could make today work. And I went, of course I can. We can move some things around.
It's about checking in with yourself. And I know for some
Absolutely.
people it's things like journaling and so on is the thing that enables them to do that. But really, like what you've touched upon there is it's about having those rituals where you are aware. Otherwise, months can go by and you go, actually, I'm not in alignment with what I said I was going to be doing here.
Yeah.
Let's do the ego piece because I don't think we fully...
Oh, no, we didn't answer that, did we?
Ego. What happened to your ego in those early years and what did you learn?
Okay, so I did well. Business did well. Everybody was saying, "Oh my God, you're doing well." And those days it was very different. Setting a business when you were younger. So I was 24, 25 when I sort of did it full time, and so going out. I mean, I had big clients, you know, and I was I lived in Scotland, but I was a blonde Geordie, given the banter, going around in construction. I mean, you can imagine. I'm pretty sure I know why I got some of the contract because I had the banter. So going around doing that. So anyway, so doing all this stuff, and I got, and people were, you're so good. And in Edinburgh is a very, it's a very place, like they like to put you up on a pedestal as well. If you're doing well, the Scotland are very patriotic, like everybody to do well. So I started getting press, because people tell you get press. And there was no social media in those days. It was all press. So I was getting press, and then I was winning awards. I was going for awards. My clothing business as well. I won an award because we had a clothing brand called Curvy Girl. We were winning awards in London. Everybody said how good I was. I was getting on the front page. I mean, and suddenly you're like, yeah, actually, I'm doing bloody well here. And I just started getting a bit cocky and thought, oh, we don't need to worry about cash flow. Bearing in mind what I do for a living, we don't need to worry. Like, we'll always find work. And I still say it now. I'll always be able to work. I'll always find something to bring money.
You know how to make money, right?
I know how to make money. So I'll always do that. And I never thought about the future. I never looked further than probably the next month. And I got all the flash things. I mean, I like flash things. It is me. I realised when I couldn't afford them that I do actually like them.
Yeah.
So then recession happened, which came out of the blue. And my God, there's nothing like recession to knock you off a pedestal. So in 2008, the recession affected retail and construction, which were my two main areas.
Right.
And construction clients went from having balance sheets or assets over millions to having banks coming in and saying that land that you had that was worth $1 now worth 100 grand. Wow. And even then you can't sell it. So all of my clients literally just went boomf. And it was this, and this answers the other thing when we're talking about that self-awareness. And I went, right, this is fine. We can come out of this. We can solve it. And then it just suddenly, like, everything came tumbling down. So my clothes shops, we supplied, one of the biggest people that we did clothes for was suits, plus size suits, because there was nobody doing plus size or anything like that in this. This is early 2000s. It's bizarre to think of it now, but in those days there was. So it was suits for corporate people in the Royal Bank mainly. And the Royal Bank went down. So nobody was buying these expensive suits that I'd ordered a year before. The exchange rate used to get 1.45 euros to pounds, and it went from 1.45 to 1. I lost £90,000 on the euro exchange rate because you order a year in advance. I mean, literally, there is nothing like bringing me back down to earth.
You've been hit from all these angles at the exact same time.
So I had the fancy car, I had all the fancy handbags, I had the fancy clothes, I was being invited and you was hobnobbing with people who were doing well. And then I was like, actually, this is just all smoke and mirrors.
Right.
It is all smoke and mirrors. What have I actually got? What have I actually got? And I was very lucky. I'd done some good investments. My dad taught me how to invest very early on. I did a really good investment, which I do talk about, which was a company called As Seen on Screen, which you'll now know as ASOS. So I bought some shares.
They're doing all right.
Yeah, they're doing really well. I invested it, so I was able to cash them in. And the ego bit was, I can work my way out of this, or I can do something. I was like, no, I can't. I was advised to liquidate my companies by my accountant, who's still my accountant. Accountants have accountants, which is always a mystery to people. And he just said, liquidate the business, nobody will mind. Truthfully, none of my clients would have mind. I could have set up the next day, but I was like, no, I'm not doing this. And that ego was brought down where it doesn't matter if you've got an award. If you're an award-winning business, if you're an award-winning boutique, if you haven't got people have got any money to come in and buy from you, and quite frankly, the people who give you money don't care if you've got an award.
Right. One
of the reasons now, I've only ever been in one award in the last 20 years, or 18 years, since 2008, I've only been in one award, and that was because it was a friend and I was nominated, lots of people nominated, and I did it. I don't agree with it because of what happened to me. I had all these awards, I had the great image, I had all the press releases, but I had nobody coming in and buying because nobody had any money. So that brought my ego down. And I realised that actually the best thing I could do was look at how I got into that position. So the three things was ego, self-awareness, and then responsibility. That's my 3 steps. And I see it still with all the business owners. They get the ego, then they get, they come down a peg or two, they get the self-awareness, and then you can build again. So I literally, to the stage where, and it sounds crazy now to say this, but the business was doing so well, and then overnight clients couldn't afford to pay me. So I really did some deep work of, and not journaling or anything, just sitting and going, right, how have I got into this mess? And I think this is what so many people don't do now. And I know you did a post on taking responsibility, knowing that it wasn't the government's fault. It wasn't Fred the Shred, who was the guy who buggered up the Royal Bank. It wasn't Lehman Brothers in New York. It wasn't all of these people. I even blame my parents because they made me like nice things. Because my parents like nice things. So they made me like nice. Everybody got the blame. But when I sat down and went, actually, I'm in this mess. I've spent this money and I'm going to get out of it.
Right.
And I did. I did get out of it. I negotiated with all our suppliers. And it sounds so bizarre to say like this now, but printing and paper were a big part of what we do. I still print everything, much to my girls' annoyance. So I had to negotiate with the stationery suppliers. No Amazon. The stationery supplier, can you still give me paper? And it sounds insane now to think about. I sold all my handbags. My son gets told every year that I sold my Gucci shoes to pay for a Wii for him for Christmas. We went back to basics. We used to go to Tesco's every night at 8 o'clock and buy budget things. Now, we were not on the breadline. We still had a roof over our head. My dad could have helped me out. Didn't want that because I needed to get out of this. It was the only way I could bring my ego down a peg or two, not go to my dad cap in hand, not, to work my way out of this. And it took years. And I had clients that I didn't charge. One of my clients, who's my client now, I didn't charge them for 9 months because they needed me more than ever to negotiate with HMRC. In those days, you couldn't negotiate with HMRC. Like there was no time to pay, nothing like that. If you didn't pay your VAT, which you used to have to send by check, which is also hilarious, because you were depending on the post. If you didn't pay your VAT, they would literally come after you. So I had to negotiate with HMRC for clients. So I worked pretty much for free for the majority of our clients when my business wasn't doing very well, and sacrificed a lot of my own stuff. But those clients stayed with me because I gave them what that was. And they were really, really grateful for it. So the ego thing for me was probably that, was realizing you can have all of that, but if you haven't got a solid family, a solid network of people and people that are willing to support you. And the stationery person I was telling you about, we still buy our paper from.
There you go. Loyalty, right? That's it. I
It
think
comes in his little van, which is hilarious. The girls go, why don't we go to Amazon? Because
of that.
And loyalty is a big thing with me as well, a massive thing with me. If you're in my world and I give you my time, you get all of it. But the other flip side of that is that if I'm not, then I just don't give any time to it. So the ego, and I see it now where people get, where they do well. They get everybody saying how brilliant now. They get all the Instagram followers. They get it's all gravy. I always call it. It's all just gravy.
Yeah, it's the smoke and mirrors.
It is the smoke and mirrors, and I see it more than anything. And actually, it's interesting because you mentioned mentioning money. I don't really, ironically, for somebody who teaches people how to make money, I don't really talk about money in actual figures. Never once have I, in fact, that's a lie. I was on Atomic's podcast last year and someone had asked me about it. I never talk about my turnover. It doesn't take a genius to work out that I've got full-time employed accountants and bookkeepers.
It's up there.
I'd like to think somebody actually said, you would, and I think, well, you don't really need to do that.
Yeah.
But the ego side of me, which is the other bit, is the pricing. We're going to pricing.
Yeah,
that's linked. That's linked into ego.
Listen, you're just running the show. I'm just listening. I'm just with the audience here.
So the ego side of it as well is that people get the ego when it comes to pricing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I charge £1,500 for an in-person VIP day. Am I worth more than that? Absolutely. You could get 100 grand's worth of value from that, but the people I want to help haven't got that money to pay more than that. Okay. That is my pricing. We charge less now for bookkeeping and accounts than we did 10 years ago.
Why?
Because the market has changed.
Right.
Things have changed. 10 years ago, we used to have to go, construction, obviously, we used to have to go in people's vans and get out the receipts. And the girls had to get the receipts and type them all in. Now you've got decks, you've got apps, you've got online software.
AI.
You've got so much now. So people, rightly or wrongly, nobody ever used to query what you paid your bookkeeper and accountant. It was like, it was just classed as business. You had to have an accountant. You've got to pay them this amount of money.
Price.
But then when they get Xero, QuickBooks, and they go, I can log in, I can do this. Why do I need an accountant?
So the market shifts.
The market shifts. So you've got to do it. So my package now is a quarter of what it used to be for probably more than we've ever done. But people are not prepared to pay that.
Yeah.
They're not prepared to pay more for that. So why would I do it now?
This is such an important conversation.
And that's why I wanted to bring it on.
Because I see a lot of people just saying like, no, you're worth, charge more, and you should be putting your prices up and all that kind of stuff. No, like the market dictates what they're willing to pay, right?
Absolutely.
And you have to be willing and able to adjust and adapt. And it's kind of like a linked point. There's something that I talk about a lot, which is I think we've bred a lot of entitled business owners in recent years. And what I mean by that, and I mean this with love, genuinely, but because we've had people building businesses in 2020, 2021, online, in the Zoom era, it was easier for a period of time to make money. And what I love about it, that period, and even now, is it's never been easier to start a business.
Absolutely.
And that's a beautiful thing because it's leveled the playing field. It's meant if you've got drive, determination, an idea, vision, you can build a business. The flip side to that is hearing you talk about that story in 2008 and what you were willing to do and that level of work ethic that you have, and then tie it to this point about being willing to do more now and charge less for that. A lot of people aren't willing to do that because they've had it too easy. And I really hope people listening can reflect on this and think, and I think part of this is who are you getting your advice from? Because there's people out there saying, oh, that's way too cheap. You should charge more. Based on what? Like, why is it worth more? And what you're saying is actually do market research. What are people paying?
Absolutely. See what people are paying, see what they're doing, and who's the client you're going to be with. And for me, could I, and there's the flip side of that, because just recently I've heard a lot of people say, and I've never been like this, but people say, oh, if somebody quotes me too cheap, then I think they're no good. I've never thought like that. I want to charge a price. And Lisa,
some people will think that.
They will. Absolutely. It's not me. It's not what I do. And my pricing is pricing. If you're paying me, like my mastermind is reasonably priced, and we do so much for that. My accountancy and bookkeeping, we do so much for that as well. My CFO roles that I do, you've got me 7 days a week. Could I charge more? Absolutely. But I want the market price. And the other side of that for me is I want long term.
This is what I was just thinking.
I want long term. I don't want somebody going, actually, I found somebody cheaper. Because then they're just going to move. And I'm not interested in looking for new clients all the time. My mastermind we've been running our mastermind for 4 years. It is a year mastermind, but 6 months, after 6 months, they can leave, or we can choose to ask them to leave. That's a top tip. Do it was 6 months. But we have got the people we started our mastermind with 4 years ago.
Wow.
And in October there, out of the 20 we asked to stay in, 18 of them stayed in. Wow. And some of them have been in for 4 years, and because they want it as a long term, they were an extension to their business. And that's what we want to do. If we put it too high, they wouldn't be able to do it. So there's that side. There's the other side, which nobody I have ever heard talk about this, which is, and Lisa actually talks about, I don't know if she's ever done this publicly, so I'm out on her now. It's okay. I think she won't mind this. Trust me.
Well, she might.
So she has something where people call it Lisa tax. She calls it Lisa tax. So people think, I'm going to do a project for Lisa. She can afford it.
It's a very real thing. Yeah.
So, obviously I work with Carrie Green as well. That happens with Carrie. Oh, it's Carrie Green. She can afford it. And when I quoted for Lisa asked me to do, Lisa's obviously a friend and she's been a mentor and I've known her for a very long time. She'd asked me to do a piece of work. Now, it didn't even cross my mind to just charge her, but obviously she knows, because she knows people I know, she knows what I charge. Not that she'd gone around and asked everybody what I charged, but when I gave her the quote, straight away she was like, my God, that is so reasonable. Like, I can't believe it's that cheap.
But where's the Lisa tax?
And she said to me, she says, you're the only person at that particular time, might have changed now, the only person who's never put Lisa tax on. She went, and I know because I know what you charge other people.
Wow. And that's the longevity piece we're talking about.
Absolutely. And I remember, I'm using Lisa again, I remember going out for lunch with her one day and she went to the toilet, she came back and I'd paid for it all. And it was Nobu, and we'd had champagne because that's me and Lisa and we like to be wanky. Oh no, not anymore, because I don't think she drinks now. I'm single-handedly keeping the alcohol business economy going right now. But she'd got in the toilet and she came back from the toilet and she went, all right, I need to get. I said, no, I've paid for it. And she literally looked, I mean, this was a while back. She literally looked at me and went, you've paid for it. Nobody ever pays for me for lunch. And it becomes that way of, well, why shouldn't I pay for lunch with you? I've done well, as my dad says. She's done all right, the bed.
Yeah.
So I've done well. So why shouldn't? And this is the thing, just because somebody's got money, and I get that. We've had this conversation this week, which I'm going to talk about now. I wanted to sponsor this podcast, but I have strict budgets in our company. I call them projections. I don't like budget. That feels restrictive to me. So we've got projections. I have to run everything past my team. So, I saw it and I thought, oh, it's not in the next 3-month plan. Don't know if we can really afford it. I had no problem saying that to you. And I've said to people before where they've come to me and said, oh, do you want to do it? I can't afford it. And they literally look at me. What do you mean you can't afford it?
Yeah.
And we'll talk about first class flying. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I just, when I say I can't afford it, can I afford it? Absolutely. I'm not saying that we've not got it, but we have a planned business.
That's it.
We have planned budgets. We have things that we do in our business. Things get paid on certain dates. We do an end of month and the mid-month. If it's missed the end of month, which is generally me because I've not approved it, it goes on the mid-month one. We have systems in place. I don't just go, oh, yes, I want to join a 42 grand mastermind. Interesting, when I joined Lisa's mastermind a few years back, because it was a big amount of money, I took my girls for a spa day. I took my management team out. We went for a spa day and I talked to them and said, do you want to do this? Because that is the equivalent of a junior bookkeeper in my company.
Right.
You know, so they
So
have
you
to be on
allow
board.
your team to be part of that
Absolutely,
conversation.
Absolutely. My team get access to my own personal, but I can't make payments. I can't make payments at my personal bank account. They have access to that. I hide nothing. So that pricing bit all leads into all of this, is that we need to be more honest about, just because I've got, you know, a multi-7-figure business and an asset portfolio, which I don't talk about, and I've invested well, and I've made good decisions. I've made really bad decisions, but I've made good decisions. Doesn't mean to say I'm awash with cash, you know, flopping around cash for everybody.
Well, and this is why people, and I'm going to hold my hands up on here, we're very honest on this show, get into cash flow problems because they might be making more money than they've ever made. And so they see it and they go, I can pay for that. And they might pay for something outright or even in installments, whatever. But actually, because they've not got that system in place that you talk about and you teach, and they've not got those budgets, they're not asking, is that available in that budget right now?
Yeah.
And people can get in a really bad way where they're turning over so much money and revenue's high, but actually they're struggling to pay their staff.
Yeah.
And this is the danger of it, right?
Yeah.
I'm just going to take a pause a minute because I need to tell you about literally one of my favourite people in the business space ever. Jo Simpson. A lot of you who listen to the show may already be aware of Jo, but you probably don't know just how incredible she is. Jo is the founder of JK Business Services and also the profitable CEO. Now, I just knew Jo as this really lovely person who is great at networking, connecting you to people, and opening doors for other business owners. But she's also so much more than that. For over 24 years, Jo has been running a successful accountancy and bookkeeping practice, supporting ambitious business owners across the UK. Her specialist accounting team works primarily with online, retail, and service providers. So they truly understand how modern day entrepreneurs operate, including things like digital launches through to creating recurring revenue in your business. But Jo does not just focus on compliance. She helps business owners think like CEOs so that they can actually increase profitability, smooth out that cash flow, and have a business that actually pays them well. If you've ever wondered how much you should actually be earning in your business to fund the lifestyle that you want, cover all your taxes, and create sustainable profit, you're in luck, my friend, because Jo has actually created a completely free tool to help you work that out right now, this second, and it's really exciting to do it. Her target income calculator will show you exactly what your revenue needs to be right now to actually get that take-home income that you want. But more than that, when you download it today, you'll also receive her Profit First Manager tool, also completely for free. What that's going to help you do is create a smarter cash flow system right now. So head to the link below and enter the code SUCCESSCHOOL, all one word in uppercase, to go and download your free copy right now and start taking control of your numbers like a true CEO. You will not regret it, and either way, you just need to go and connect with Jo. She's blooming amazing and she will change your business and your life. So just go do it. Right, there we go. Back to the episode.
I joked about at the beginning that we're going to get cancelled today. And let me add some context to that. There's a quote that you said a lot, which is, in your line of work, you see people with their knickers off.
Yeah, that's exactly what I say.
And what you mean by that really is you're seeing the behind the scenes. You're not just seeing the front end, the gloss. Look at me. And I know you've worked with some huge clients and do work with huge clients that a lot of people will know. You know, you've mentioned there Lisa Johnson. Yeah. You've mentioned Carrie Green. I don't know who else you can mention, and obviously you will as and when and if. But we know there's a lot of bullshit online.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a lot of vanity, metrics, and numbers that are spoken about. I want to expose that. And again, this is not naming names or anything like that, but based on your experience, so that we can give the listener a really real, like they can see it with the knickers off today.
Yeah.
What are the things you're seeing in terms of where there's dishonesty in the industry? Because and the reason I want to do this is because we compare ourselves to a fake reality. If people are saying one thing online, but you're seeing behind the knickers. I don't know how to say
I have to say it in the real context that when I work with somebody and doing what I do, so obviously we've got the accountancy practice, we've got the bookkeeping side, we see everything in that. Obviously it's all confidential. We never have. We've then got the CFO side, which is what I do, which is if you're going to come and work with me as CFO, you have to tell me everything. Like I need to know what you've got in your personal bank. I need to know. I've just taken on a client recently and I had to ask her if she was going to have another child this year. Like, you can't ask that, but I need to know because I need to plan. Are you wanting a bigger house? Are you wanting this? What are you wanting to do? What are you wanting to do with that? So they have to be so honest with me. And nobody likes talking about money in the UK. I only work in the UK. Nobody likes it, particularly, the business owners, because, I mean, I've got friends who don't even know what their parents earned or anything like that, which is, for me, it's just, and I ask friends all the time, what do you earn? And they're like, you can't ask me that. Yeah, I can, because I
Such
see
a
it all.
healthy. I always say money and sex, they're two things that just should be a really
You're not going to get
normal.
me talking about sex, just
Okay. Well, there you go. But it is like they're a big part of our everyday
Yeah,
lives.
absolutely.
Or hopefully sex is. Maybe not for everyone. But do you know what I mean? Like it is a very normal, natural thing. And whether we like it or not, in the society we live in, money's a huge.
It absolutely
And when we
is.
make it taboo and embarrassing, or it's like that's an unhealthy relationship with it.
Absolutely, and you see it, and I think the thing is as well as that you see big numbers. So this was never a thing. This is an online thing. So I actually started my online business in 2014, and I went from having to drive to appointments for clients, only doing them in Scotland. I did have a couple in Newcastle, but driving to it because you had to see them in life, real life. And then we were on Zoom. Luckily, I think we were probably one of the only accounting practice that when COVID hit, we were totally set up for it because my team all work around childcare. It's another thing I recommend. You make a flexible team. So we were all ready for it. So when I went in the online space, I was like, oh my God, like you've got all these people. I can work anywhere, do anything. And looked at all these big numbers that people were doing. Then I went, right, I'll create a course. It's a whole other thing. But I realized actually I was just a little fish in a big pond and you had to really stand out and you still had to put the work in. So my online business didn't make any money for 4 years, from 2016, which is when I registered the limited company, to 2020. In fact, it was the end of 2020. I did everything for free. Every single bit of my online, every course, every mastermind, every program, everything was free. I gave it all away, which nobody would do now. It's insane. But I did it and it worked. It paid off. I was lucky. I had JK. I call it my muggle business. I had JK, which is my accountancy practice, which was paying me. So it was all fine. But then I started meeting people who, and we've always said this, it's a slogan. It used to be on our wall, but it got painted over. I'm going to get it in neon. Turnover for vanity, profit for sanity.
Right.
And we've always said that. Turnover is irrelevant if you've not got the profit there, because it's the profit that matters. But what happens is that you, and particularly in the online space, you can make a lot of money very, very quickly. It's not a gradual thing. So people can go and like in 2020, they went and, they created an online business. They did a bit of work. They did it in 15 hours a week. They were selling courses. They were having launches 300, 400,000. And then guess what kicks in? The ego, the cockiness. Oh, I've done this once. I can do it again. What even worked at Christmas will not work for me in March. Right. We launch every 3 months. It won't. Well, you have to change and evolve all the time. So when you work with people, when you've got the knickers on, and I do, it is one of my expressions because it's like seeing somebody stood there with just the top on. You have to see all of it. So the big caveat with all of this is that when I work with a client, they all know, and I don't think it's well known now in the industry, but it used to be known in the online industry, where people would say they work with me because they knew that I wouldn't allow any bullshit. So if one of my clients put on Facebook, oh, I've just done a £400,000 cash day or a £400,000 launch, people would know if they were my client, that was the truth, because I would go and comment on that and go, actually, X person, I nearly give away a name there. You can't, please don't, and I've done it. I've said, don't say this. This is over a payment plan of 12 months, which could fall off. So that was, and I did it, and I would do it now. If I saw a client do it now, nobody would. They were terrified to do it. So there was a bit of a thing to say that they were associated with me because they couldn't get away with it. I think what's happened now is that people are more honest now about what it takes to run a business. Okay. And, Danny Wallace is a good friend of mine, a client of mine as well. And she's been very open and honest about what it is doing to put on this event in March, which I think is 3 weeks. I have sleepless nights, so I don't know how she sleeps. She doesn't. She's a machine. And she's been very open and honest about what it is. So people see the big stages. They see the big amount of people. They calculate in their head, they work out, or they do it on a calculator, they work out how much money they're selling those tickets
so
for.
far off the reality.
And Carrie is a really great example of that. Carrie's got, in my opinion, the best membership in the UK. Sorry for everybody else who's got membership. She had one product. She did really, really well. It was its longest one. And she's adapted it. It's never gone crazy prices.
No.
Never gone crazy. She's kept that pricing model. She's done it really, really well. But when we had people, everyone could have a calculator and work out how many members. You can see it on Facebook, how much money she's getting in, but they're not seeing all the contractor costs, all the staff costs, everything, like the ads cost.
Right.
The ads cost is, it's more than most people's turnover for one launch. So they're not seeing
And the
all
Stripe
the behind the scenes, the
fees,
Stripe,
VAT.
everything, all the things that are part of the business.
Yeah.
So I think people are being more open and honest about it now. And I think people are realizing now that saying, I'm making multi-7 figures, making multi-6 figures, that's just there. And the online space, and I don't think people talk about this either. So again, let's get cancelled. I look at the online space sometimes and I think, right, you've done a launch. You do a big launch, you might get a 1.5 million revenue thing in. So I've just had, I've had clients who've done, all of my clients have had really good launches the last 6 months. The online space is not struggling. It is still doing well if it's done properly. They've done that. They've then got to do that again in 6 months' time. Look at my business model. If we get a good client, if I get a relationship and get a client in, they come into JK, as long as my team look after them, and we are constantly thinking about retaining them. The financial dashboard that I've created, all my clients get that free. All my clients in JK get access to my membership for free. I throw the kitchen sink at them so that they will, it's a benefit, but they'll stay as well. So as long as I do a good job, then I get clients in, they stay. And that's how it works. So so I might get a client in. So 225 is our monthly limited company bookkeeping and accountancy package for most sort of businesses. Obviously, the bigger you are, it goes. So that 225, I don't go, right, okay, that's me got a £20,000 sales day, because I don't know how long they're going to stay. I want them to stay forever, as long as I go, but they might not. So that's where the smoke and mirrors has come from, is people aren't transparent. I do think people are much more transparent now. I think people are realising you don't have to pretend you've got it all figured out. You need to be open and honest with people. There's a line. You have to be careful. There is a line to be drawn about what you tell people. You don't want people worrying that you haven't got money and that you haven't got systems and things to do. And in my community, I talk very openly about our cash flow. We have had, this last month, we have had more bounce direct debits than I've had in 24 years of business.
Why do you think that is?
I think after Christmas, I think there's a lot of reasons.
Okay.
I think people take too much time off in Christmas. Sorry, saying it there.
Said it.
I've said it, go and cancel me. I think people go, I take a few weeks off. They come back into January, they get all excited, and then they go, oh God, and they get defeated, and then they're not bringing in as much money. They've not managed the cash flow properly. They've had a couple of weeks, particularly smaller business. They were talking businesses who maybe is just them and maybe a couple of others. That isn't a proper business. If you're bouncing direct debits, like small direct debits, not honouring, I don't know what your percentage is, but we see for memberships where $35, $47, Stripe payments are failing for $45 bloody dollars.
Yeah.
You should not be
Because
having a
insufficient
business.
funds.
You should not have, if you are, now, I occasionally have a bounce payments on Stripe because we have credit cards that all the girls use. So it might be, but it's never for insufficient funds or the card's expired. That's very different. This happens. Things happen. But every month, not having enough money to pay your accountant or a membership that you've committed to, that is not a proper business model. So there's the cash flow issues and there's not having a proper business. And I think now with the online space, I don't see it as much. And people, somebody said yesterday, all I'm seeing is people say, I'm thinking, I don't see that now. I see people being open and honest a bit more about it. You've been open and honest about what it takes to put on your event. I've been open and honest. My wages bill, it makes me feel a little bit sick in my mouth every month when I do it. I don't look at it now because it depresses me. And my competitors are all sourcing outside of the UK. I have got very, very strong belief. I only employ people. I don't have any contractors. They're employed mainly because I need them 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. They're employed by me, but I don't outsource outside the UK. I could get a bookkeeper for £3 an hour. £3 an hour.
Some days I bet that's really tempting.
Very tempting. I even went down a rabbit hole and looked into it last week. No, if we want to scale it to a different side to the business where they don't need people. But my business is based on relationships. My girls, I mean, I've got girls who in their 30s who've been with me since they left school.
Yeah.
You know, I don't just build the relationships. My girls build the relationships. My team, you've met some of my team, they build relationships as well. That's what it's about. So me outsourcing to somebody where you're going to get a different person every day just won't work for my client base.
Right, I want us to go quick
Sorry, I've
fire.
gone back.
No, because I've got about 100 questions I've not started on, and I think you've got a lot of really good perspective. So let's talk about investing from a standpoint of your personal experience of what determines a good business investment versus bad. And I want to hone in on a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
We've had disagreements on a couple of things that I think we should share. One is...
One I stand corrected on. I hope you're going to ask me the one I'm going to say I was wrong on. But carry on.
Oh, interesting. Okay. One is flying first class. For me, it's a must. I don't want to fly unless... And I want to, caveat, I'm talking really long distance, 10, 11-hour flights. For me, in terms of cognitive ability, energy, focus, getting the most out of that investment, it's night and day for me personally. I'm like, the difference of having a bed and being able to sleep properly versus not is worth it for me, even though I do think it's extortionate, which is another thing. Second one is, and you know what this is, food at events.
That's the one I'm going to stand corrected
Oh,
on.
really? So to be clear, you were saying when you're doing these big events, you've got to be really careful on basically what battles to fight, like what you invest in versus
it's
what you
exactly the same as business. So think of any business investment you're doing. So if you're doing an event like that, so if you're doing an event, it's a business event, you're doing it, and you've got budget.
Mm-hmm.
And where's that budget going to go?
Yeah.
So Danny, for example, has taken a few things out. I think she's talked about, I'm not going to say what she's scrapped, just in case, but it was quite a big thing she was going to be doing at this event.
Right.
Did she need to do it? Absolutely not. So that's got pulled from it. Okay. So when you're doing a business, when you're looking at your expenses, or for you, an event, we use the event as an example. You've got an event. What are people coming for? Mm-hmm. So what is the primary thing they're coming for?
Yeah.
So a good friend of mine, Therese Heathwaring, who you know as well, I dragged you to her talk at Atomic. She's amazing.
Yeah.
She's phenomenal. Yeah. She's putting on a absolute beautiful luxury, high expensive one-day event in April. I'm going to that expecting to get the best bloody food I'll ever have in my life.
Gotcha.
Okay, that's very different. But if you're putting on an event where it's networking and connection and things, you know, nobody's going to go to that and say, right, you know, I'm there for the food. Mm-hmm. You're not there for the food. So, you know, for example, Big Festoon, you know, the food, the lunch, you get that. Where the Big Festoon was, it's not there anymore at Bolton Stadium. There's about 25 shops round by. Takeaways, lunch breaks, you can get whatever food, McDonald's, I mean, not that's good, but all these different foods, you can get that. I've been every Big Festoon and two of the B Inspires. I've never, ever had food there. I mean, I don't eat anyway, but I never have food there. I'm using that time to chat to people. So that's not important for Danny. Yeah. Okay. Do people never go back to that event because the food wasn't brilliant? I don't know. It is a thing. If you're putting on an event where it is a luxury event, or there is a bit more for it. So where I stand connected on this is that I spoke at one of my good friends and clients, Katie Godfrey, who is huge in the hair and beauty space. She is incredible. She puts on an event. She did it in January, and she is a lesson in how to run a business.
Wow.
She has a massive mastermind. She is based in Dubai now, not for tax reasons, can we point out. She is in Dubai, but she came back and she did this big event. The goodie bags were insane. And this was, I think it was probably on about £147. Okay. The industry she's in, hair and beauty, which is obviously one of my sectors as well, these girls work hard, but they don't go to events.
Yeah.
So when they do,
special treatment.
When they do, I mean, they're there in the high heels. I don't think I've ever been to an online space business event where Lisa and I are probably the only ones, and mine are normally off my Uggs after about an hour. Everybody's all glammed up. It's a very luxury event that she's doing. The price is different, but she also selling her mastermind from that. So the cost of it. But and this is why I stand corrected, I just had an operation, so I was able to eat for about a week. And she did a roast dinner. It was a Sunday, and you got a roast dinner. Now, I live in Scotland, and we don't do roast dinners in Scotland. It's not a thing. Sorry, Scotland, I don't like that about you. We do in my house. This roast dinner, and everybody was talking about the roast dinner, which is why I said I'm going to stand corrected on that depending on what the event is. Okay. It was that kind of event. But with business, you've got to look at the investment. So whether it's if you're looking at expenses in your business, you've got to go like, what is the return on investment I'm going to get for that? That was my thing with the event. So flying, I have got no issues at all with people spending their money how they want to spend their money. I like nice cars. My car normally is the price of I think actually my car currently was double the price of my first house.
Wow.
Now, my first house was in Sunderland, can I point out? And it was a
Okay.
long time
A long
ago.
time ago. Yeah.
But that's how that's how I like to spend my money.
Yeah.
Other people don't spend money. So I've not got any problem with anybody spending the money on that. What I do have an issue with is when people don't pay their tax bills, or they are not paying. They're sacrificing other things that they shouldn't be sacrificing, but then flying first class, mainly because they want to be seen to fly first class.
Okay.
Okay, so that's where that came from.
Yeah.
I am not averse to flying first class at all. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that I am. But for me, flying, I love nothing better than being on a plane for 10 hours. That's,
Really?
yeah. Do you know where that's come from? That has come from when you're in business, and the type of business I've got with real deadlines, not launch deadlines because we want to do a launch tomorrow. Like, if we don't submit VAT returns,
You're right. Yeah.
one of the things we do is we've never ever missed a VAT return, ever in 24 years in business. We will take the penalty. If we miss it because it's our fault, we'll take the penalty. And to put this into perspective, we've got clients whose VAT bills are 500,000.
Yeah. Wow.
So the penalty's high. They're real deadlines.
Yeah.
So years ago, when I used to get on a plane, it was the only place nobody could get hold of me.
Yeah.
So I loved it.
Yeah.
It was like heaven
Yeah.
for me, right? So me paying $9 grand, 10 grand to be in first class, that is not a good investment for me, because I'm happy as Larry. You see me on that plane, as long as I've got a gin and tonic, my earphones. I mean, I do go premium economy. Can we just point
just
out
to be
here?
clear.
But it's not it's not an investment, because that is a me thing. And the reason I say this is where this all stemmed from, which you probably don't know. Years ago, I was on a retreat, and I think I was the only person who didn't fly first class. And they were all horrified, like shocked, literally agape with me. And probably I was the only person who could really have afforded to sacrifice that money. So for me, that is the price of, if you get a deal, if you're getting your Avios point, and everybody tries to explain to me why they do it. If you need that because you're coming back and you're hitting
For
the
me, it's
ground
because I'm
running,
knackered.
yeah, and that's fine. But that money in my business,
Yeah.
could be one of my team's monthly wage.
Right.
How on earth can I justify that? How can I sit? Can you imagine my team? Oh, I'm sorry, nobody's getting pay rises, or we can't afford to take a new bookkeeper on.
Right.
I'm flying to America first class every 3 months.
Yeah.
It just doesn't wash for me. So it's and that all leads in the event. If you've got, if you're taking on a team, if you're investing in a mastermind, if you're investing in a program. So the mastermind that I did, I feel like we're talking about Lisa a lot today, but it was her mastermind that I did. Could I afford that mastermind? Absolutely. Could I have paid it in full? Absolutely. I never pay in full. And the reason I never pay in full for anything, I like payment plans, which I don't know if you know, is that I like to be kept accountable.
Yeah.
If I pay in full for something, 3 months down the line, the money's not coming out my bank, it's gone out my bank, it's spent. I'm like, I might have forgotten about that. If I see that money coming out every month, I'm like, right, what are we doing to get that
To
working?
maximise the return on that.
Yeah. So podcast, we pay you in installments.
Mhm.
I'm going to be like, right, what are we getting from that? If I paid in full, I'm not going to forget about it, but there's a chance we will. So we don't do pay in fulls for any of our clients. Nobody can pay us in full. They can only pay us monthly, because I want those accountable for it as well. So when you're looking at things like the mastermind, what are you going to get out of that? And the big thing that I would recommend people do is not just what's the return in financial investment, what is the term in your investment as well? Can you give the time? So the mastermind I was supposed to be in the year before that, but I knew my mum was going to pass that year. And I thought, well, I won't be able to fly. I won't be able to go to the events. I won't be able to do it. Why would I join that then?
Yeah, wrong timing.
And I spoke to Lisa and I said, look, as it happens, my mum didn't die in the August. So I would have lost 9 months of in-person connections. So that was why, with that, it has to be a time thing. So with any investment, you look at what are you getting financially back? What are people wanting? So customer service is a big thing for me. Quality is a massive thing for me.
Yeah.
So if we cut something in the business because it was cheaper, a great example of this right now is there's a new software that's being developed that's like Receipt Bank. I call it Receipt Bank. What's Dext? Your apps that you get. There's a new one being developed. It could be brilliant, but it's in the pilot stage. They're paying accountants to use this. They're paying accountants to use it. I pay Dext. Okay. I don't think it's that good, this new one yet. I think it will be, but it's not yet. So if I said to all my clients, right, you're coming off Dex, because we pay the Dex for them, you're going on this thing, and I'm making money for that, but the clients can't use it, that's going to affect customer service and quality.
Right.
Okay? There's a really good example of that. So anything you're investing, whether it be a course, a mastermind, a coach working one-on-one with, like, I don't ever work one-on-one with a coach, ever. Because you don't get a good return on investment.
Really?
Never get a good return on investment.
Okay.
I only ever do group programs. Never work one-on-one with anybody. I did it once in 2015. I've done a few things like health coaches and things like that. Again, doesn't work. It's never worked for me.
Interesting.
Now, it might be because I tell myself it's not going to work, but with the mastermind, I feed off people. I need to be around people. One person, and masterminds have come and group programs have come with one-on-ones with the person who's facilitating it. But it just doesn't work well for me. I need to be in a group. I need to be. There's also an element that I don't really know anybody, sounds very wanky to say this, above me in what I do or understands, what an accountancy practice is like.
Right, okay.
To have, I couldn't just take January off because I was ill. Clients love me, I think. Like me, at least. People are friends. They really care about me. They want me to be well, but they also want their tax return done.
Right.
And I've never really met anybody who can do that. I've seen people in the online space say, I'm taking 6 months off because, of my health. I can't do that. I can't do that. I mean, if I had to, I would, but I've got responsibilities. So looking at what time's involved in it, what the return on investment is, what quality you're going to get out of that. So I spend for convenience. So if I can, one of the things that my team always laugh at, which is the one thing I spend money on, and it still is the funniest thing that ever happens to me. I pay excess luggage everywhere. Okay, so when I get to Ryanair and I put my case on, I've got my phone ready to do it. But generally, when you do this, you have to have somebody come over and do the thing to it, and they'll go, "Oh, do you want to take something out?" No, I want to pay. They look at me as if I'm insane. I am ready to pay. I price that in.
Just because you just don't want to have to worry
I don't want the stress of and time of decanting all my products. It takes a lot to look like this. I don't want the stress of decanting products. I remember years ago, my husband liked to travel with a carrier bag. He used to make me get on a scale and weigh the cake. I mean, what?
Yeah.
I've got better things to do in my time.
Yeah.
So, truthfully, I fly a lot with Ryanair. Because you can't go first class on Ryanair. I go a lot with Ryanair to Mallorca, Spain, all these different places. I've been 4 times with Ryanair this year. It's always cost me £66 excess luggage.
You just know that and you factor it in.
I pay it when I get there. Generally, I'll lose some things over there and I come back and I'll give some to other people.
Brilliant.
And I don't pay it coming back. But
Yeah.
because that is it, £66 for me to spend 2 hours of my life decanting and standing on a scale and weighing my case, I'm not doing it.
So it's about personal preference, isn't it? It's
Absolutely.
about you get to choose what is the right investment for you in your
Absolutely.
business.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. We're going to have to finish.
No.
Like, we've nearly run out of time. I know. I can't believe it. But just before we do finish, people are hearing about you for the first time.
Yeah.
And when I say we've just scratched the surface, there's so much, and I honestly cannot big you up enough. And
thank
you
you
are
so much.
becoming
That
a
is
new sponsor of this podcast.
Yeah.
And I always want people, if you are going to support shows like this, I want it to be the right fit where I genuinely want to sing your praises. I can't think of anybody that I want to sing praises of more than you. So please do, like, if they want to follow you and get into your world, what's the best way they could do it?
Instagram. I pride myself as being the only accountant in the world that's not on LinkedIn. I do need to stand corrected, actually, because I am actually on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I am now on LinkedIn, but I don't go on it. I don't know how to get on it. Never message me on there. Instagram's where we hang out. I love it. I'm a great believer in doing what you like. Instagram's where we hang. I do a free session every Monday morning. I've done it for 5 years. Every single Monday at 10 o'clock. It's a free session where people can come along and ask me any question they want. We do teachings on there. I train people in Profit First. It's such a good community, and I've got people who've been coming every Monday for 5 years. So that's a free session. Anybody can come along and they can find out a bit more what we do there. So Instagram, Financial Growth Academy UK. And on there, it's got all the link tree, which will send everybody to all the things. But yeah, my weekly session on a Monday, I love at 10 o'clock because it's a great place to get to know me.
Love it. Go check that out. And the final question before we finish the show is, Jo, what is your personal definition of success?
Oh, probably being happy and feeling like you've done a good job. Success for me is knowing that my clients are getting a good service, that people are happy, that my staff are happy, my team. I hate saying staff. I always feel my team are happy. That for me is knowing that we've got happy clients, happy team. My family are happy. That for me is success.
Thank you so much.